To this computer.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Cliffhangers or Cocktails and Cliffhangers. Wait, yeah.
Cliffhangers and cocktails.
Brought to you by the Caftan Coven, and I swear we're not drunk yet.
Yes. I'm Amy Cissell.
And I'm Shea McLeod, and we're both USA Today bestselling authors, bestselling universe writers in the world. Yeah.
And I believe future Oscar winners for inspiring stuff or something.
Right. Yes. Like we were gonna like inspire somebody to write a screenplay and then we would walk the red carpet and be fabulous.
Yes.
And I'm still for this plan. So originally we recorded this at Sip Divine, one of our favorite wine bars, and we recorded it on Yule, and it was really awesome. And
So
then
good.
and we put it up, and then one of my friends was like, I tried to watch it, but I couldn't hear anything. And I was like, crapola. And I went, and sure enough,
No sound.
no sound. We
The
don't know.
audio did not record at all.
We don't know what happened.
I tested it before we recorded. Like I
We
did all
did.
the things and it did
Yeah.
not record the sound.
Yeah. It was very, yeah. So we still, yeah, technical
Yeah.
difficulties. So today is sort of our makeup Yule re-recording. So we're unfortunately not at SIP, sad face.
I know, right?
Um, and this is not live, it is pre-recorded, but we're lazy and we're probably not going to edit it
Yeah, it's
because
pre-recorded by like a half an hour. Because when we're done, I'm posting this. I am not editing today. Um, so we're the Caftan Coven,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and we wear caftans
Yes,
to all of our recording. I'm wearing my caftan.
I
You
am
can't
wearing
really
my
see it, and that's
caftan.
fine.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm wearing one. And I'm also, and anyone who knows me, this is going to be a shock, and I apologize. I apologize for telling you this. I am short. I know. I know.
She
Shocking.
is. Yeah.
So I was walking downstairs to my office where we are going to be where we're recording right now, and I tripped over my caftan and I tumbled down the stairs and yeah, I ran into a bicycle. It was
Not,
very dramatic. I bet it was very fun to watch.
I'm sure, but it's probably not optimal to experience.
I've experienced better things. I've experienced better things in my life. But fortunately, things that didn't get broken in my tumble, my glass
Oh,
and
okay.
my
Now
bottle.
that is actually, that takes some skills because I can break a wine glass just by looking at it. So the fact that you managed to fall down the stairs and into a bicycle and not break a wine glass or bottle.
I dropped everything that I was holding, though fortunately the wine was already down here, except for my wine glass and my phone. And those, I when I came to a rest, I'm like holding it up like this, like no, everything else went flying.
But you saved what's important.
I did.
So
Saved my very important wine glass. So I'm just a little weird today anyway.
yeah,
Weirder than
well,
usual, maybe.
maybe.
Who knows?
So we're just gonna go with it. And that's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. So basically what we talked about was like, what is Yule and how do we celebrate it? So basically we went with Yule is the oldest midwinter solstice celebration on the planet, with roots among the Scandinavian and Germanic peoples, although it spread throughout Europe. And it's a celebration of the returning of the light after the longest night and of life and rebirth, which I think is cool.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to look at the history of Yule and how it's moved through into our modern year.
Hmm.
Obviously, Christmas and Yule are not celebrated on the same day. Today we are halfway, like exactly between them, which
Yes.
is so fancy. And I know like one of the things that I like to do is I do celebrate Yule with
Hmm.
my friends. As I've like kind of moved on from the Christian roots that I grew up with into the more pagan roots that I identify with. But obviously, not obviously, I have a kid. I have a kid, so obviously, we still enjoy celebrating
Mm,
Christmas.
yeah.
But the stuff that we do, like the tree and the candles and all of that, that's so very
Yes.
much in the roots of where it started.
Yes, like the holly, the ivy, the bringing the greenery into your home, the burning of a Yule log, even the giving of presents and the feasting traces all the way back to the ancient Roman festival of Saturnalia. So all of these things sort of, it actually, when the Catholic priests and whatnot brought Christianity to the British Isles, that's when you started seeing the blend of the pagan Yule traditions brought into this new thing called Christmas, and why a lot of the old traditions are kind of a crossover, which is really interesting.
This is a question that I didn't ask you before,
Mm,
and you may not know the answer, so
oh,
sorry about it.
but I have Google,
Um,
so there we go.
do you know what the like prior to Christianity and the Romans coming into the British Isles and moving northwards, do you know if Christmas was even celebrated at solstice time, or was that when they were starting to bring in Saturnalia? I'm just wondering what the original celebrations were for Christians.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure. If or when they even celebrated anything. That's an interesting thing. I know that they did start actually a lot of the European holidays like Easter, etc., were kind of slotted in over existing pagan holidays.
Hmm.
But whether or not Christmas actually existed before that, or what form it existed, no clue. I didn't go that far back.
Well, now I'm going to go find out, and I will do a
Yes,
book report at some later time.
that would be super cool because that would be a really interesting thing. I do know that Christmas, how we celebrate it today, was essentially invented by Charles Dickens, of course, with the Christmas Carol. Because up until that point in England, I mean, it was pretty much, well, they didn't do Christmas trees. That was brought over by the Germans, but it was kind of just another day. It wasn't
Mhm.
really a holiday. It had been become so debauched during like the Regency or whatnot. It was basically just a excuse to get drunk and do bad things. Or fun things, depending on how you
Fun
look at it.
things, fun things.
Yeah, so shenanigans were had, and then
I
so
love
they
a good
kind of
shenanigan.
yeah, so it was kind of like not I don't know if it was banned. It was actually banned here in the colonies by
Yeah,
the
the Puritans were not a lot of fun.
no, and they were not fans of Christmas. So they just thought it was too pagan and rowdy and not pious enough. So
They were right, but they were also no fun.
they were also no fun. So yeah, so he kind of brought Christmas as we know it, but interestingly enough, it still incorporates all of these pagan traditions, including the tree. So but like as far as like Yule itself, Yule kind of was a time to reflect on the past year while looking forward to the year ahead and connecting with loved ones, spending time in nature, and of course, um honoring nature with decorating with greenery in our homes and honoring each other by giving gifts. So, which we still do today. Um,
One thing that I just want to throw in there is the original German Christmas trees or Yule trees.
mhm.
One of the things that they would put on them is apple decorations,
Yeah.
which is a traditional thing. And when you think back to like the origin of like in the book of Genesis, where of course it was the woman, whatever, who ate the apple on the tree of knowledge, but a lot of people believe that it wasn't an apple because not a thing, it was a pomegranate. And
Mm,
pomegranates are going to come back through the theme of this recording a couple times coming
yeah.
up. So I just wanted to
So,
throw that out there that apples and pomegranates have been long been associated with Christmas trees and Christmas and
mm.
all sorts of other fun stuff.
Which brings us into the plants of Yule, which are, of course, an integral part of celebrating Yule.
Yeah.
And of course, there's the evergreen tree, the Yule tree, to symbolize the continuity of life. There's also holly, to recognize the old solar year and for protection. Ivy for fidelity and loyalty and symbolizing the strengthening of family bonds. And of course, mistletoe, which is not just for kissing, but it's actually for peacemaking and the end of discord. And there is legend that warriors would meet beneath the mistletoe, and that was sort of their we're going to lay down our arms and be at peace with each other here under the mistletoe. It was kind of like a peace conference, if you will.
And I
And
do want to give everyone a bit of homework. I
mm,
want you to go Google the relationship between mistletoe and the birds who help spread the mistletoe seeds. I don't want to talk about it right now, but I need you all to go Google that. How birds help propagate the mistletoe, because it's really good information everyone should have in their brains. Not just me. I should not be the only person to know this.
and I was going to look it up and of course promptly forgot, which is like just proof of perimenopause brain right there. So the final plant, sort of other than pomegranate, of course, but that's a food, right? Um,
Also a plant.
Also a plant. It's a plant food. Is birch, which is associated with rebirth, which I never knew that people celebrated with the birch, but that's cool. Um, and and then of course there are crystals associated with Yule as well. I'm wearing red jasper here, which is for protection. It's a symbol of life. It encourages growth, motivation, and revitalization. Got green aventurine for emotional healing, letting go of difficult memories, promoting inner harmony, and it brings luck and abundance. And
Well, I'm wearing right now, I'm wearing this is my raven skull with my garnet beads on the side of it. And garnet is really helpful for like strength and stabilization and moving on, like moving past the negatives, moving past the old stuff into the new stuff, which is something we do at this type of year. And fun fact, the root of the word garnet is it's Latin and it comes from the same, it means pomegranate because they share that color. So garnet and pomegranate are like from the same Latin root.
that is so cool.
Pomegranates. But
Woohoo!
also the raven skull in this is very much associated with a lot of winter celebrations in Norse mythology. But again, raven skulls are associated with probably everything in Norse mythology. We love our raven. We're all over that raven situation. And definitely, I feel a very special bond to the corvids that I've always felt. And I kind of feel like that's the connection to my ancestors,
Mm,
my more distant ones, not my more
yes.
recent ones,
We're probably going, what are you talking about?
who are not necessarily Norse pagans
Right, probably not.
and are more Protestants.
Other stones for Yule are bloodstone, clear quartz, garnet, as we mentioned, citrine, carnelian, or any stone that promotes clarity, abundance, and renewal. Working with those at Yule is extra powerful. You can use them, just wear them, put them around, put them on your altar if you do a Yule altar. I'm not that organized, so I mean, I kind of have a, it's on my mantle. Just
I
lots.
have an altar, but I haven't like Yuled it up.
Yeah, like mine just kind of like I swap out the candles maybe or something like whatever. But which is again one of the ways to celebrate Yule is again incorporating nature into your home, practicing gratitude for abundance, both the abundance you got throughout the year and the abundance you're asking for coming into the new year. And lighting a candle or a Yule log. Like if I lit a Yule log, I'd probably burn my house down. So a candle is a better option.
You know what's really fun is when I was so I grew up Christian and my dad was a minister, and honestly the only thing I miss from that is Christmas Eve services.
Mm.
Because I loved going into the church, the part where they would turn off all the lights
Hmm.
and the front people would light their candles at the
Hmm.
ends of each pew, and then you like passed your light on to the next person.
Yeah.
I also liked tipping it so that the wax ran out and like hardened on my skin, but that's a different thing probably. But my family also had a Yule log, but
Mm.
we put our what do you call that season? Advent. We put our
Hmm.
Advent candles in there, so we would light one every
Oh, that's a
Sunday.
cool idea. Yeah.
And so we'd have one and then two and etc.
Hmm.
And it was, I mean, I just loved the lights of Christmas. I still love lights
Hmm.
everywhere.
Same.
And that's my favorite. And then I'm not huge into hymns necessarily, especially as sung by Midwestern Protestants. Like I've been to the African Methodist Episcopal Church and heard them sing hymns, and that's good.
Mm.
Midwestern Protestants, less inspiring.
Mm.
But Christmas music, I love Christmas music. Even now that I
Yeah.
don't go to church and I don't celebrate um, the Christian traditions, I love Christmas music. I don't care where it came from. I love it all.
Mm.
Every
Same.
single bit of it. And I think it's just because that was the best day, best
Yeah.
church day there.
Yeah.
The only good one, really.
I went to when I was living in England, I went to like this old Church of England. Like it wasn't quite a cathedral, but it was close.
Yeah.
And so you had the priest dudes in their like really fancy like Christmas Eve robes, the high, the best ones, and the little choir children, and
Oh, I
yeah, and
love
they
choir
I
children
know they
in
were
their
so
little
cute in
robes.
their little robes, and of course because it was Christmas, they had little angel wings and little like antennas. Yeah, not antennas, but little
Little
halos.
halos.
Yeah, made out of the pipe cleaners. And then they would like sing these, of course, the Christmas music, and there's some of their Christmas. It's really interesting because some of their Christmas music has like the same tune but different words, or it
Uh-huh.
has like the same words but a slightly different tune. So it
Oh,
was really, really interesting. And then, of course, this is an old, old building. So even when the lights are on, it's not that bright. But like they turn the lights off and it is just, you get the street lights coming in through the all the stained glass, and then you have the candles, and we did the candle lighting thing, and sang the hymns, and whatever, and it was really magical. Like it really is just like it felt like you were being transported back in time. So that was really, I mean, awesome. That was
I
really
love
cool.
the way that we can connect all these traditions
Hmm.
together and the beauty that we can find beauty in these Christian traditions that maybe aren't who we are as people anymore, but like connect it to where we are now. I
Hmm.
love that connection that we can find.
Hmm.
It's like looking, somebody asked me once, like, how do you become a good writer? It was a child, one of my daughter's friends. She's like, how did you become a good writer? And I'm like, first of all, thank you for knowing I'm good. And she's like, but I want to write fantasy, but I don't know how to find, I don't know how. Like, how
Hmm.
do you do it? How do you think of ideas? And I said, the number one thing you need to do is find the everyday magic. It's
Hmm.
not about imagining fairies and dragons and castles. It's about looking around
Hmm.
and finding that everyday magic. And I think this connection of light and song
Yeah,
and fir trees and holly is that connection that's everyday magic.
absolutely. Totally agree. Um, so more ways of celebrating Yule. Um, Now we probably, I mean, performing cleansing rituals. So just like whether it's a smoke cleansing, whether it's salt, whether it's ritualistic sweeping of the house, and then feasting with family and friends. You, of course, after you go listen to all the magical music and light your candles, eat some good food.
Do you
And
have traditions around that? like
Um,
that you do now or that you are connected to from your past or your
well,
youth?
growing up, we either went to my dad's side or my mom's side. And if we went to my mom's, we went to Central Oregon where my grandparents lived and stayed overnight. And I don't remember if we had a big meal on Christmas Eve or anything, but I do remember on Christmas Day, I know we had a ham. I think we had a turkey also. And of course there was stuffing and cranberry sauce and there was probably vegetables that I didn't eat. Um, and like so many pies and Christmas cookies and cakes. Not cakes, candies. Like one of my cousins, her grandma on her other side always made Christmas candies. Um, and then my mom would make like a persimmon pudding, which is a steamed pudding, similar or a steamed cake, similar to like English Christmas pudding, but it's made
Uh-huh.
with pureed persimmons, so it's kind of got this really rich, fruity taste, and it served with hard sauce.
Um,
Yeah. And of course, my mom put imitation rum in the hard sauce because, no drinking. But I am not, I am like, give me the real stuff. So when I make my hard sauce, because I still carry on making the persimmon pudding every year.
I love that.
Um, and it's very traditional. It's very Yule, but it's also very Christmas, and it's just part of our family's tradition. So, but my my hard sauce gets real booze.
You did like at my grandma's house, my mom's mom, like looking at that Scandinavian tradition, one of the
Mhm.
things that we did every year for every holiday, and honestly, why we didn't do it every day, I do not know, but was lefse. Like I don't
Mm.
even remember what kind of meats happened.
Mhm.
I know there was a giblet plate, and we used to fight over who got to eat the hearts.
Ew.
Listen, farmers, and but the
Okay,
one thing was
listen.
lefse.
My grandfather was a farmer. I still don't do that nonsense.
Oh, okay. Well, sure. Someday I'll tell you all about the rest of the weird farm stuff. Um, but like the lefse is a potato flatbread, so it's
Mhm.
made with riced potatoes and flour and some kind of liquid, presumably butter. Now I'm blanking. I know this recipe. I've made it. And you roll it out really thin and you fry it just like on like a big griddle,
Mhm.
just like a couple seconds on each side until it has brown spots. And then you flip it over and do the other side. And there's a lot of different ways people eat it. Growing up, we did butter and brown sugar. There'd be
Mhm.
just the little
Yum.
brown sugar dish that we'd pass around.
Mhm.
Now I eat it with cream cheese and lingonberry jam
Oh, yum.
because
I
that's good. It's also good
love.
day after with like
Yeah.
cranberries and mashed potatoes.
Mm.
And I don't often make my own laksa anymore because I don't have time for that.
Mm.
It's a process. Um, but there's a food cart here in Portland called vegan. No, boo, Viking soul food. And they make some of the best lefse I've literally ever had. So they're my lefse suppliers. And if they should ever want to sponsor us, I would talk about the lefse every episode. Like I would do, and they
For
can pay me
heavens.
in money and lefse. Like
Yeah.
I'm flexible that
Yeah.
way. But that's the one thing that I really remember
Mm.
from like the big family
Yeah.
gathering.
Yeah.
But on Christmas Eve, we had lasagna. And just because it was something that you could put together ahead of time, and my dad
Yeah.
being the minister, we did the Christmas Eve services. So we just come home, pop the lasagna in the oven between services. It'd be ready when we were done.
That's
We could have
so
our
cool.
Christmas
I
Eve
love
dinner,
Christmas Eve lasagna. That's fantastic.
alcohol-free eggnog, which we made fresh from eggs from the
Mm.
farms. So not like
Mm.
pasteurized eggs, like salmonella eggs, right?
Oh,
Except that it
awesome.
was small farmers, so we never
Right.
worried about it.
Well, I mean, I've had food poisoning a few times and it's never been from raw eggs, and I've eaten a lot of cookie dough. So,
I don't believe that that's even a thing. Like I think it's somebody who's like a joy remove. It's probably Puritans who started that rumor.
that's great. Um, Yeah, so other Yule foods are hearty stews, roasted meats, root vegetables, all traditional things that would be around like in wintertime. Plum pudding, or like I said, persimmon pudding, mulled apple cider, mulled wine, hot buttered rum,
Have you ever made
eggnog.
that?
I haven't. I've made a hot toddy, but I don't think I've ever ha made. I've had hot buttered rum. I don't think I've ever made it.
Okay, we need our production assistant so I can say, hey, write that down because now I
Yeah.
want to try it.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm just going to make a note here. Make hot buttered rum. Okay. I don't know. Maybe that'll be like a New Year's thing or something. Like in the new
Did
year,
you
we'll.
know that New Year's Eve, like, is new moon?
Really?
Yeah,
No, I didn't realize that. I'm such a
I'm
bad
looking at
witch.
my calendar over there, and the moon phases are on it, and it looks like 31st is completely black.
Wow.
So that's kind of fun.
Well, rumor has it I'm going to be at your house at that time, so we'll have to do something like new moony.
New moony.
Yeah, that didn't sound right.
It didn't, but I'm there for it. I'm there for it. So
uh,
speaking of drinks, where else
yeah.
are we going with that?
Well, today, we are doing a drink. Initially, since we were recording this in the wine bar, we were doing champagne because champagne is, of course, a uh has connections with celebration, with joy, um, and although it is very volatile, apparently, in spell making because of the bubbles, but I
Hmm.
do it anyway. But today I think you are drinking something sparkling.
I am drinking a beautiful sparkling wine from, wait, no, I can't do it. I don't know how to make this work. There we go. Puck,
Ooh, heck.
puck.
Okay.
From
And
Aniche Vineyards, which is on the Washington side of the Columbia River.
oh yeah,
It's one of my favorite wineries that has ever
nice.
existed.
And
So it's a lovely sparkling.
I am drinking sparkling ginger beer because I don't have any actual sparkling wine in my house, which seems like a real failure right now. But
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
but if you wanted to do like a little mocktail situation, a mocktail mimosa, this is for you. But to make it a little bit festive, we're just going to take some pomegranate juice, and this is bringing in the Yule, the abundance, the love, the whatnot, protection, celebration. Um, Pomegranate juice is associated with Yule, or pomegranates are, as we said, are associated with Yule, and they symbolize prosperity, good fortune, life, and regeneration. So just pour a little bit of that in it. It gives us this nice red,
So pretty.
adds a little bit of juicy goodness. Mm, mm. Oh yeah, I'm
Oh,
gonna add a little more of
yes.
that. That's good stuff. Ooh, now that's nice and dark. I like that. You could also put like a little splash of lime in there if you wanted, but
I don't.
in the ginger beer. Ginger
Yeah.
beer is pretty sweet, unlike sparkling wine. So, or champagne. But either way, you can have your mocktail, you can have your cocktail. This is a great option to have for the whole family. So the adults can have something boozy and the kids not so much. Or
Yeah.
if you have
Or if
a
you don't drink for
if
whatever
you don't
reason.
drink for whatever reason, you can have something enjoyable as well. So, mm,
So good.
yum, yum, yum. And if you're, diabetic or whatnot, there's stevia, really good stevia ginger beer. So you can use that.
Is
Um,
there like, oh, there's no added sugar in my, I don't know how fruit sugar works
well,
for
yeah,
people
I
with
think
diabetes.
pomegranate is one of the lower sugar. I think it's down there with like cranberry, I think.
Okay. It has a
Check.
lot of sugar, but it doesn't have any added sugar.
Yeah. So it's something to, check with to make sure. But
Are
I
cranberries a thing that we would? consume at this time of year?
Absolutely, because I mean, think about it. A lot of it's very traditional to string cranberries on a tree. Cranberries, this is the time of year when cranberries, about November, December, that's when they're, I think, harvesting in like November or whatever. And
End of
that's,
October, beginning of November,
yeah,
like up in Washington anyway, where they do a
yeah,
lot of the harvest.
right. And there's a few bogs down here too, I think. But they, yeah, so this is sort of that time of year when um they would be sort of in season, if you will.
We got all the dark red stuff in season right now. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Ooh, I love it. So yeah, so it feels very sort of um appropriate for the year. So I also have a little Yule affirmation that I found that I really love. We talked about doing an affirmation at the beginning of each of our podcasts. So I just brought out this Yule affirmation. I bless the darkness for the lessons it teaches. I bless the light for the opportunity it brings.
I love that.
I love that too, because, and I think it's, a little esoteric and then quite literal, but also, you know, this has been kind of a hard year for a lot of people. And so, um, but just bless it and there's both the light times and the dark times. People, I think, are sometimes are so focused on only the light times. There's so much that the darkness, we can't have the light without the darkness.
We can't
So
ignore it.
right.
Like
It's there.
it is there.
So you can fight it, and which is a never ending battle. You're not going to win that, or embrace it and learn the lessons.
Hmm.
So let's segue a little bit into today's book. What are we reading?
Yay. Because I guess that's part of our podcast is it's not just witches and drinks.
Yeah.
Well, I'm reading the latest book in Isa Medina's Good Bad Witch series.
Mhm.
So it's called Bright Dark Shoot. It's not called Bright Dark Shoot.
No, wasn't it
It's
Bright Dark
called
Curses?
Bright Dark Curses.
That's right.
And I just at the very beginning of this book, but I'm loving this series so much. It's just about this witch who like isn't necessarily one of the top performing witches in the country, and she's getting this chance to shoot her shot by running this little magical coffee shop in this town that has a lot of magical people, but a lot of mundane people as well. And she's gotten to take over the shop because the previous owner died.
Mhm.
And there's a lot, like each book has a little cozy mystery. There's some romance with, and I don't think this is a spoiler because I think the minute he walks on page, you know he's a love interest, and he's this bounty hunter werewolf.
Mm.
And there's like friends and hauntings and like just and these the mysteries are so well crafted that in the first book I didn't even know who did it until the end. Like I was like, oh, three times at least in that book. Maybe
That's
I didn't make
awesome.
that noise, but like, ooh, maybe I
Yeah.
don't know. Surprise
Aha.
noise. I don't know how to do like surprise noise. But it's a really fun series, and I think this is book five, maybe,
Mm.
and the sixth book is already up for pre-order.
Mm.
And I 100% recommend diving into this series. And everything we're talking about today is really going to be in the show notes.
Mhm.
So you can find this book there.
That's excellent. Because after we talked about that, I went straight and got the first book in the series. I have not started it yet because, of course, what I'm reading, and we talked about this before, of course, and, Amy's
And I'm
horrified,
not
but
jumping in to buy any of these books, just to be clear.
so I love an alien romance. And I know mostly we're talking about like witchy things, but I'm just on this alien romance kick. And there's some great like series that come out at Christmas time and that have sort of like Yule Christmas vibes, but it's aliens. Well, like the female protagonist is always human, and then the male is of course a hot alien. So I've just been super obsessed with them. I've just been tearing through them. I can't get enough. One of my favorite series, it's a series of 7 books called Rescued by the Alien, and every book has a different author, but they're just sort of connected loosely. And Kringle by Tana Stone is just absolutely, evil elves, a village that's perpetually Christmas Eve, like
That sounds fun.
yeah, getting saved by a hot alien, So it's got everything I like. They're very steamy, so if you like some sexy times in your books, they are for you. They kind of mix some of the cozy hallmarkness with aliens and sexy times. So,
Love it.
yeah, if
Um,
that's your
and they are
thing,
not safe for our under 18
they
viewer.
are absolutely not safe for under 18 people.
I don't
Yes.
think we have a lot of minors watching this, but I know we have one.
And so, yeah, this is not for them.
Not for you, Liana. Not for you.
So you want to tell us about the Oracle, like the Oracle
I
deck, not the
do.
Oracle at Delphi.
No. Okay, I'm gonna have to take off my blur. So I need everyone to know that there may be, I don't even know what's going on in the background. But if I'm gonna show you anything, I gotta take off.
Nothing too scandalous.
Can you see my books and all my liquor?
It's a little fuzzy, but yeah.
Good, good. I don't have any liquor back there. Okay, so we are looking at, and I'll post this obviously in the show notes. It is Juliet Diaz's Seasons of the Witch Oracle deck. And she has decks for every one of our holidays, all 8. The 8th one isn't out yet, but it's on pre-order. And I was introduced to these with the Samhain deck, which I fell in love with. And then every time a new one comes out, I'm like, need it, need it. And I know, Shay, you have a
Yeah.
couple.
I have the Samhain deck. I have the I think it's Beltane and the Yule. I did not realize they were all out until I was doing a little bit of Yule shopping and went, oh goodness, I am very behind in collecting these Oracle decks.
And
So
I need Yule gifts
yeah,
for myself.
exactly. Happy Yule miss to me.
That's how I get stuff in my stockings, is
Yeah.
I have to buy my own stocking presents. And my daughter bought me a really lovely Christmas present like a month ago, but then couldn't wait and she just gave it to me. So now my one present under the tree will also be from myself. Just so we have something to open, which is
Yeah.
always fun. So I didn't do a pull today that was new. I just pulled a card that we had at our actual soundless live stream, and it is snow.
Ooh.
And it says at the bottom of the card, there is beauty in the divine that settles on thy flesh, a magical enchantment bestowed in purity. And so the keywords here are softness and patience and allowing. So this is a reminder to soften. You don't have to know everything. You do have to know something. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to rush. Just allow things to come to you because they will. You don't want to be forceful because that's when mistakes can happen. You want to be confident, you want to move forward, but you want to let the good things come to you as well. Be open to that, be strong, and you need to remember that force can break more than it creates. So move ahead and trust
That's
that force.
fantastic. I love that.
And I need everyone to know that when I came downstairs in a rough and tumble fashion, and I opened this deck to find the snow card so that we could redo this, the card that I pulled immediately, accidentally, was, oh, look at that, self-care. So apparently, I'm not supposed to fall down the stairs.
Apparently not. It's like the universe is trying to tell you something.
Stop falling down the stairs. This is not the first time this has happened.
Ugh.
I am not the most graceful of folks.
Yeah, nor I, but I fortunately have not fallen down the stairs. I just tend to break things. Just
Like yourself or stuff?
not myself, stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
I break
just
myself instead
uh,
of stuff.
maybe you should switch.
Okay.
because stuff can be replaced. You cannot.
So maybe I should have just let this go and saved myself.
Maybe just a thought.
Oh,
Lesson learned, right? Learn
yeah.
from the dark.
I'm an old, and I don't feel like I should be. I got to be careful of myself more than when I was
Yes.
like my daughter's age,
Yeah. And
because
you could
I
probably
am not
tumble and no problem.
elastic and rubber anymore like she
No,
is.
no, no. We are getting to that time in life when we need to be maybe a touch more careful. We won't talk about that.
No,
Um,
no, no, no.
so I just want to send a shout out and a thank you to Jill at Sip Divine in Tigard, Oregon, who
Yes.
let us record our original technically difficult um, show. And if you get a chance to visit her shop there in downtown Tigard, do. It's a really awesome shop. It's got
It's so
all
fun.
Pacific Northwest wines. She's super knowledgeable about wine. She can answer all your questions. And if you don't live nearby and can't make a visit, although, why wouldn't you travel from, say, Maine just to go to a wine shop? I would. But she does ship, so check her out online and
The link
um,
is in the show notes.
yes, we'll put the link in the show notes. And other than that, where you can find us on Instagram under Cliffhangers and Cocktails. You can find us at, I think it's cliffhangersandcocktails.com. You can find it at caftancoven.com. And all those links will be in the show notes.
You can sign up
And
for our newsletter
sign up for our
and you'll be
newsletter.
notified. We've done our first interview for the
Yes.
pod.
Yeah.
So, and also if you have suggestions of books we should read, authors we should interview, if you're an author and want to be interviewed and you write fantasy and especially fantasy that's paranormal women's fiction, that kind of, or paranormal romance that kind of looks at, has main characters who are not 18. We're looking at older protagonists. Like, drop us a note.
Mm-hmm.
cliffhangersandcocktails@gmail.com is our current email address. So drop us a note. Tell us who we should interview. Tell us if you want to be interviewed. Tell us what to read. I'm always up for a book rack.
Yes. And if you're a practitioner that maybe you read tarot, maybe I don't know, you're psychic, maybe you work with crystal healing or sound healing or you
Astrology, like
astrology,
anything.
anything, and you would like to appear, be interviewed, or if you know someone of that ilk that would like to be interviewed, just again, let us know. We would love to interview some really cool people. We love interviewing people who are passionate about what they do. Those are always the most fun. And so, yeah, our first podcast is going to go up about mid-January, I think, and
Yep.
we'll be putting out one podcast every couple of weeks. So yeah, like we said, subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a podcast. And it's going to be really fun. But yeah, we had a great time doing our first interview. And so we're going to be interviewing some more people, putting together the podcast and getting those up soon. In the meantime, we'll probably do a couple more lives or
Yeah.
recordings of some kind for you too.
You know what we should do? What we should do is we should do a New Year's Eve, new moon, tiny,
Tiny live.
tiny live after we finish the bottle of real good champagne.
Oh yeah. So we'll be real buzzed.
I won't. I will probably just be happy.
All is merry and bright.
So have yourself a gay little Christmas, all my LGBTQ
Woohoo!
people.
Yes. I hope you have a very happy holidays. Hanukkah also starts on Christmas
It
Day.
does, which is
So,
Hanukkah Day, I guess, as well, not just Christmas Day.
yes.
Starts on the
So,
25th.
whatever holidays you celebrate, may they be fabulous.
Blessed Yule, everybody.
Blessed Yule. Thanks for joining us.